how rich he is over and over and over again.
Money made. Aaron Mayweather too. No money green on it. Change it up. Change it up. Change it up. That's what we do. There you go. There you go. That's what we did. I need everybody, all the fighters all around the world. MMA, boxers, all of this man right here. We get the job done. Money man, and y'all know the rest.
Because people who are truly secure in their wealth and legacy don't talk like that. Floyd doesn't just want to be rich. He wants to be seen as rich, unstoppably, untouchably rich. The problem is that the more he chases that image, the more artificial it looks. The value isn't in the dollar amount anymore. It's in how people perceive him. And more, that perception is cracking. The respect Floyd once commanded in the sport is slipping, not because he lost a fight, but because he's turning his name into a circus. Real ones in the sport, guys like Tony, like Rogan, like even Canelo now, see through it. They know the difference between building a brand and hiding behind it. The Mayweather brand used to be about hard work, dedication. Now it's about selfies and private jets and auctioning off fantasy fights to the highest bidder, and of course, building wealth as he calls it.
Me and my buddy got it clear.
We said as long as it's 10 or 20. Anything less. Can't be less than 10. Then we're struggling for money.
I just want to get some of the account.
Imagine how much money Floyd Mayweather would have made if I was his promoter. You know what I'm saying?
But when Aaron was,
Too hungry fuckers for money.
And don't forget how that bleeds into his reputation. Every time he fights an influencer, he cheapens the weight of his legacy. Every time he steps into a ring, not for pride, competition, or greatness, but for clout and cash, he gives his critics more ammo. When people like Tony say he would...
All right. Is Floyd Mayweather really broke or going broke or what? Let's just get to the elephant in the room at the end of the day. The man 50 and all. Everybody keep talking about legacy. The legacy has already been stamped. He not competing no more. You get what I'm saying? You know, so what he doing is just, you know, he getting money. Why not do exhibitions for $10 million, $5 million? So anybody that got a problem with that, you just straight hating. That's just how I see it. You just straight hating. Because that man can go fly anywhere in the world and, you know, side with the sheiks and stand beside sheiks and Aries and billionaires that own countries, you know, and befriend them and say, hey, let me bring money to your spot. Let me be an ambassador and representative. Let me do an exhibition here. And here's my fee. I don't see nobody else doing it on that level. So you just hating. How can you hate a man that make $10 million for, you know what I'm saying, an hour, 2 hours? You know what I'm saying? How? The legacy been stamped already. So what we talking about? You're cheapening your legacy. It's already stamped. His 50-0 ain't going nowhere. Now, at the end of the day, he for real 49-0 to me. I'm a real boxing buff. I really don't count the Conor McGregor fight. You know, that was a fluke all the way around, but it was strategic. And once he made that fight pop and happen, the light bulb went off. So see, people mad that Floyd is the first one that tapped into the exhibition and doing it at a high level. So they want him to fall so they can step into the space. But ain't nobody with the name and the recognition and the swag and You know what I'm saying? You know, ain't nobody doing it like him. You know what I'm saying? He is the blueprint. And soon as say like if Mayweather died, say like if Mayweather went to jail, I bet you one of these boxers that's retired. Look at Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson just did an exhibition. First it's a real fight, then it ain't a real fight. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, that fight was a fluke. Jake Paul could have knocked Tyson out if he wanted to, or was Tyson holding back? Because the Tyson I saw that was training looked like he could rock Jake Paul, especially in the first 3, 4 rounds. Then after that, it would have been suspect. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying. You know, I ain't got no problem with Money Mate getting his money. And I think the world is hating. Stop trying to count people's pockets. I hate that. Why y'all counting that man pocket? You know what I'm saying? So what he doing exhibitions? He done fought already. He done beat everybody. What else he need to do? What you mean his legacy is at stake? What you mean is at stake? It's stamped already. What are you talking about? What we talking about? It just sounds like hate to me. That's all I'm saying. You know, let me go out here and fight influencers or whatever and get paid $20 million, 10 million, 5 million. And everybody that talking smack like they wouldn't do it. Oh, it's about legacy. Stop, stop your bullshit. Stop your bullshit. You got a problem with Floyd because he the first one that tapped into it on that level. You know what I'm saying? I don't even think Tyson can do another exhibition with that last shit he did. That man aged in front of us. But all the practices, the videos they were showing, Mike was looking like the old Mike. You know, yeah, he older, you know, but he looked like an old man that was ready to go to the nursing home. And he got $20 million for that. It wasn't even a close of a fight. It was one-sided. If they had put some more action into it, they could have did a rematch and people would have paid for it because people like to see Mike. But from what I saw, Jake Paul could have knocked Mike out, and he know it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, come on, man, stop it. Stop it. You know what I'm saying? Now, did he get scammed for that money on them apartments, or was he part of a scam, didn't know it? I'm like, you know what I'm saying? You know, sometimes the risk is not worth the risk, especially if you don't know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? You're not a real estate agent, you know. So how about this? How about you got all this money? Once you take your ass to class and get your real estate license and know what the hell you doing versus relying on somebody. You got all the time in the world. You ain't working a 9 to 5 and you not boxing no more. Take your ass to class and learn the craft of realty so you'll know what you're doing and stop having to rely on somebody. How about that? Therefore, you know about the ins and out of all that. If you're going to be investing big money like that. So why is his people not champ once you go ahead and learn this shit before you start dropping all this money and shit? Especially of that value. Like, come on, man. What we doing? What we doing, bro? What we doing? You know what I'm saying? We cutting corners. We want to get over. We want to pay somebody else to do shit. It just makes sense. You know what I was impressed about Michael Jackson? Michael Jackson, with his management, with his accountant, and I think Prince was on this level too. Any investments that went down and any handling of his money, Mike knew what you was doing, and you had to teach him. And if you had an issue with teaching him, which you know as his accountant, his agent, and manager, he said, "I have no use for you. I want to shadow everything you doing." And then check this. This how savvy Michael Jackson was. The primary what is it, CPA, his accountant, whatever that information that he told Mike about his money, he had another accountant checking what this dude said. You know, like when the doctor tell you you sick, you want to get a second opinion, you want to get a third opinion. That's what Mike did with his money, Michael Jackson. That's what made him such a fierce businessman. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if Prince did that, but he was smart too. These are two guys that got their masters back. And then, you see what happened. Michael Jackson owns the Beatles catalog where he did. And he bought it right from under their nose. You know what I'm saying? And, they was mad with him because they wanted Paul McCartney to own the rights to his music. And I get that, you know what I'm saying? But Mike said it's just business. Why you wait till I get it and then you want to show interest in it? That you want to buy your catalog. Cause I got it, now you want it. So I think that's what they said. That's how they fell out because Mike was being disrespectful. He said, so I guess he was saying, well, I wouldn't have never bought your catalog if we were such good friends. And Mike said, well, I wouldn't have never allowed you to buy my catalog because I'm buying my catalog. It's just business. It ain't nothing personal. So that's how business is cutthroat like that. Like people, if they find out your name is not branded or you haven't branded your name or legalized your name, they can buy your name. And anything you do with your name, your residuals go to them because they own your name. So that's how we got to be on point with the business. You know what I'm saying? But that's a drop in the bucket because if somebody buy your name, you know, just make up another one and then go register it. Don't keep making the same mistake. You feel me? But, that's the hot ticket that's on social media about is Floyd broke? Of course not. Even when you file chapter 11 or whatever that go, you ain't broke. It's just the fact that you got to work something out with these creditors. So sometimes you file that to save money. Trump done did it 100 times over. Trump done purposely, I believe, allegedly, let his casinos fail because he had $1 billion in insurance on his casinos. So yeah, y'all looking at him as a failure, but did he really fail? He operated them casinos 25 years and was like, you know what? I'm tired of overseeing this business. I'm ready to cash out. That's the nature of the business of people, of what I see. I don't know about it, but you build businesses, you cash out, right? That's what Trump did. He cashed out. So Did he really fail? I don't really believe that. I don't see that. But I guess it's all about the flex. You know, if you claiming to be big and you the biggest, like Rick Ross say, the biggest, so you can't do nothing that's, allowing you to go into foreclosure or like how he be picking that 50 with your mansion, with your plane, you know, with your yacht. You know what I'm saying? If you doing so well, you you claiming you playing with the big boy. So it's about competition if you entertain that. So I think that's why everybody coming at Mayweather because he engages in the competition of flexing and flossing. So this is a no-no to come up short. You feel me? So yeah, so I yesterday was my former mother-in-law birthday, April 14th. Happy birthday to Ursula Gibson, and that's my son grandmother on his mom's side. And today is my mother's birthday, Teresa Chambers, aka Lele or Aunt Lay or Lay, you know what I'm saying? And mom's would have been 75. My birthday is tomorrow. You see that? All three of us in the same row. Happy birthday to the brat. And there's somebody else's birthday today too that I saw. Oh, Al Green. Al Green birthday was yesterday. Um, Shouts out to my coworker, Miss V. Her daughter birthday was the day. My coworker, Patty Pong got married today on mom's birthday. So congratulations to you and your marriage. It's a lot going on. And of course tomorrow is tax. Your tax due tomorrow. So I'm a tax baby. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna come back later on after 12 and do my official birthday video. And you know what I'm saying? I come in the house from work, the wife got, balloons, a cake, a card with a little dough in it. You know what I'm saying? So at midnight, I think me and my son, we gonna head up to Baltimore to the casino. I'm just gonna go for a minute. I ain't trying to do nothing because I'm over losing money at the casino. Like the MGM Harbor, the one by where I live. When that jump first opened, I had selective machines that I played that I hit on. I would leave up out of there with $200. And I'll come in that jump with a hot 50 and leave with 200. Now, you know what I'm saying? They taking my $50 and I'm tired of losing. So I'm just stick with what I know. Just play lotto and hit my little $100, $50 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But now when I go to the casino, I'm there to eat at one of the little eateries or whatever. I'm not there to lose no money. I'm over it. You know what I'm saying? Trump laying everybody off and ain't nobody got no money to be losing to no casino. And uh and this rubbed me the wrong way when I seen The Rock in this movie with series, The Ballers. Rock partner with a casino owner, and the dude said to Rock and the other partner that was partnering with them, he was trying to get a stake in the casino. He was like, "Why do I need you? I don't need help financially. I never needed help with the casino business since I've been in the casino business." He said, "Because everybody loves to come and lose their money." I said, "Whoa, did he just really say that?" And it's the truth. Everybody like the action. I don't care what kind of gambling it is. Lotto numbers playing, dice playing, cards. So it's a discipline thing. You know what I'm saying? And people gotta realize when you losing too much money or you losing more than you winning, you gotta get disciplined and scale back or fucking stop for your ass be in the poorhouse. I was a gambler in high school, very lucky. You know, I tell people I used to hustle the hustlers because they ain't had no regard for money because they got it quick and they will blow it quick. So, you know, it was nothing to get a dice game at lunchtime, you know, and even the neighborhood I grew up in, we had superior gamblers where we used to travel to different hoods and gamble other crews and whatnot. Everybody out there with their crew to make sure nobody get cheated, nothing go down, and whoever won could walk away, drive away, and not get robbed because everybody was locked and loaded. You know what I'm saying? It was respect all the way around. You know what I'm saying? Or it would have went down. And if I went anywhere where they didn't have discipline, I dipped up out of there because I'm not trying to catch a stray. You know what I'm saying? I remember I stopped two homies from going at it. You know, one was getting this money taken and losing, and you know, my man was popping his mouth and he gambling, taking dude money. My man bent down in his sock and pulled out a letter opener. It looked like a knife, long and sharp. He pulled it out his sock from his pants and was gonna stab that boy in the neck or the head. And I grabbed his hand. I said, "Nah, bro, I'm not gonna let you do that." And he was looking at me, and basically, if I could read his mind, he was asking me, "Whose side you on?" On their side, because this particular game was between two neighborhoods that I lived in. I lived in one and my grandmother lived in the other hood. So I know both of these crews. Matter of fact, I'm part of both of these crews. And my man was like, "Who you rolling with, bro? Us or them?" I said, "Both of y'all, both crews my homies, and I ain't gonna let this go down on my watch." I remember my first time going to New York in 1984. These neighborhoods got into a beef and I was gone. But when I got back, I squashed it. You know what I'm saying? I went home, found out what happened, and it was over a basketball game. And this was before the gunplay started. Everybody used to throw them rocks, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And you know, a few people got a few black eyes, but you live to tell about it or talk about it the next day. So with that being said, I squashed that. I squashed that. I told both sides that the other side didn't want no smoke. Let's just end it. So honestly, I always been like a mediator without even me knowing it. I was just always able to, you know, squash situations that didn't have to go there. It's just somebody got to say something instead of jokers being scared and not trying to get involved. I'm like, no, no, no. If I care about you and I can stop some bloodshed, I'm just stepping in. You know what I'm saying? You know, and so yeah, I've been in a few situations, and I talked about it in other videos, and I don't care to revisit it. But I just came to say happy birthday to my moms. Let me show y'all my moms. You know what I'm saying? That's my moms on your right. That's my grandmother on the left. My sister Mika, she been gone 21 years. You know, all her kids grown now, and that's Pops. David Chambers Jr., Butch Chambers. You know what I'm saying? He was a character, you know, and you know, he kept me out these streets because he was a no nonsense dude. You feel me? And he was a serious dude in these streets from the 70s. You feel me? So, you know, the folks that knew him on the streets used to call me Little Butch. And like, where your father? Where he at? You know, how he doing? And you know what I'm saying? And so I just feel like a lot of kids, if they had the triangle that I had, they probably would have turned out better than they did. And what I mean by that is I had my pops. Pops was the enforcer. He had control of his household and his family. You feel me? It was no negotiation. You did what you was told to do. Moms provided the love, the nourishment, and grandmas came with the faith and the wise tales of enlightenment. You know, my grandmother used to say things like, I know what your friends doing out there. You know, I see what, you know, I see them nice cars they driving, them expensive clothes they wearing, you know. And she was like, you know, you ain't got to do that because we not hurting that bad for no money. You know, one thing about my family, we was a structure. We stuck together. So we relied on each other. Somebody didn't have food, everybody would go shopping and put a bag together and go take them groceries. And when they got on their feet, whoever that was lacking or was going through rough times, we did that for them. So, you know what I'm saying? We was a real community there and not so selfish driven like we are now. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I don't even think that consciously we realize how selfish we are. It's just the grind of the time. You know, my son would say, you know, we make more money, but still we barely living. I don't understand it. I say, yeah, but when they up your pay, they up the bills. They up this and that, you know. So that's how they give you the money and they take it right back. That's just basically how that goes. So you gotta strategize how you gonna keep your money by being disciplined and not carelessly spending. And you know, you just gotta be strategic on what you bring in. You gotta be strategic and merge with the right partner, like your mate. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that is an earner, somebody that know how to save. You can't have two people blowing money, or you can't have a partner that don't respect discipline and just all willy nilly, you know. And it's like, I mean, it's easier said than done, but you know, when you blessed to get a partner that you both on the same page financially, you know, okay, we're gonna spend a little, we're gonna save a lot, we're gonna do what's necessary with the money and not be, you know, out of control. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, two people like, you know, your wife and, you know, or your husband, both of y'all don't need to be paying a car note on two different cars. One car need to be paid for. And then you you buy something nice that you can floss, and when you pay that up, then you go get another car. Like, my wife truck been paid off for 5 years. So I'm paying the note on my joint. Then when I finish my joint, she gonna go get something. But you don't need to be giving back that money at the same time. I mean, that's strategic spending. But I ain't gonna tell you how to spend yours. I'm just saying, I can go on all night about this, but in this day and time, everybody watching their pennies and they scaling back. You know what I'm saying? This is my 10th year anniversary of being married to my second wife, and we was trying to go to Hawaii because she never been. I have, and she scared to fly that long because it's 9 hours to get there in the air. Like when I went back in 2010 from BWI, I flew to Denver, Colorado, and we had and that was 2 hours, and we had a layover for an hour. And once we boarded, we flew 9 hours to Hawaii from Denver. We was over the Pacific Ocean. You know what I'm saying? Flying 9 hours in the air. And the way planes dropping and crashing into each other, a lot of people don't have faith in flying right now. So I'm glad I don't fly for a living. Far as like a salesperson or a person that's always going here and there flying, you know, what I'm saying? I probably fly like once a year when I go on vacation, and that's enough, because these crashes, like the last plane was in New York. It was helicopters. Two helicopters crashed into each other, and everybody died on both planes. I'm like, come on, bro. And it was like one of them tour airplanes, in New York, if I ain't mistaken. Uber has a helicopter that they do tours. Not do tours, but uh like if people want to go to JFK Airport, LaGuardia Airport, if your pocket's big like that or fat, you ain't gotta take a cab or the train. You could go to a helipad and catch a Uber helicopter that'll get you there in 10 minutes. But that's like $500 per head. So when you big dogging like that, you can do that. So I'm just saying. So all right, happy birthday to moms. My mother-in-law, former mother-in-law, and may they both rest in peace. I never got to meet my mother-in-law, but I had a father-in-law. I have a father-in-law, former father-in-law, Big Daryl Gibson, who was my son, uh, grandmother husband, Big Daryl, and you know what I'm saying. But I'm in a new marriage, new situation. So in my first marriage, I didn't have a mother-in-law, but I had a father-in-law. Now in this marriage, I have a mother-in-law, but I don't have a father-in-law. You know what I'm saying? Because her husband is deceased. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So I'll be back later on after 12, and you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna see if my son want to hit the casino right quick, and I'm gonna go, drink one, and you know what I'm saying, probably try to win something. We see how it go. It's rigged. The game is rigged, so we'll see how that go. All right, I'm checking out. Happy birthday, moms! All the Aries babies, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar birthday is tomorrow on April 16th, and Martin Lawrence's birthday is April 16th. These the two people that I know that I share a birthday with. And Martin Lawrence is from Maryland, Palmer Park. you know, and Sugar Ray Leonard is from that neighborhood, Palmer Park, and I belong to the same church that Sugar Ray Leonard got married in to his first wife. And so yeah, it's a lot of history around me in my vicinity. You know what I'm saying? Uh, the choice for the 1970s soul group. My uncle was in that group. You know, if y'all watch my videos, I'm doing like my own videos of their group and their music. They been recognized by the Black History Museum. You know, they were discovered by Van McCoy. You don't know who that is, do your research. That's the dude that made the song Do the Hustle. You know what I'm saying? He scored music for movies like Mahogany. That's all his music. I knew I heard that music before. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So I'm surrounded by greatness, and I didn't even know it until I knew it and understood it. So yeah. So you know. All right, man. I'm gonna close it out. I'll see y'all in a little bit. Peace. Like, share, subscribe. The streets find this Bday. I'm out. Peace. Yeah, your boy be 55 at midnight. Your boy getting old, but you know, with I used to hear the older women say, "I'm old, but I ain't cold." That mean I ain't dead. I ain't dead yet. You know, I'm still out there on the court busting them youngins' ass in basketball. You know, but I can just give you one game and then I gotta go. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. All right, I'm out. Peace.